Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Process Improvement Podcast. Today we're diving into something that doesn't always get talked about enough in the Lean Six Sigma world. What can go wrong after you earn your Green Belt certification, and how to avoid those pitfalls? Because the reality is, getting certified is a great accomplishment, but applying those skills effectively in real-world environments is where the real challenge begins. So in this episode, we're going to walk through some of the most common mistakes Green Belts make, and, more importantly, how you can avoid them in your own work. One of the first mistakes I see all the time is treating DMAIC like a rigid checklist. It's easy to fall into the mindset that you just need to move from define to measure to analyze and so on, checking off deliverables along the way. But in practice, projects are rarely that clean. You may find yourself revisiting earlier phases, refining your problem statement, or collecting additional data after you thought you were done. The key here is to focus on the purpose of each phase rather than just completing it. Make sure you truly understand the problem, that your data is reliable, and that you're actually addressing root causes rather than just going through the motions. Another common issue is jumping to solutions too quickly. This tends to happen in fast-paced environments where there's pressure to act. Someone identifies a problem, and almost immediately the conversation shifts to fixing it. But when you skip proper analysis, you're essentially guessing. Lean Six Sigma is built on evidence, not assumptions. Taking the time to validate root causes using data is critical. Whether that's through root cause analysis techniques or simple validation methods, the goal is to be confident that you're solving the right problem before you implement a solution. There's also a tendency among Green Belts to overcomplicate things. After learning a wide range of tools and techniques, it can be tempting to use advanced statistical methods on every project. But not every problem requires that level of complexity. In many cases, simple tools like process maps or basic data analysis can provide clear and actionable insights. The real skill lies in choosing the right tool for the situation, not the most impressive one. Simplicity often leads to better understanding and stronger buy-in from stakeholders. Speaking of stakeholders, another major mistake is not engaging them effectively. You can have a technically sound project with solid analysis and still struggle if the people involved aren't aligned. Change doesn't happen in a vacuum. It affects real people with their own priorities and concerns. Engaging stakeholders early, understanding their perspectives, and communicating clearly throughout the project can make the difference between success and failure. This isn't just a soft skill, it's a critical component of delivering results. A related issue is starting with a weak or vague problem statement. If your project begins with something broad like wanting to improve efficiency, you're setting yourself up for confusion and lack of focus. A strong problem statement should be specific, measurable, and grounded in actual data. It should clearly define what is happening, where it's happening, and the magnitude of the issue. When you start with clarity, everything that follows becomes more effective. Data quality is another area where Green Belts can run into trouble. It's easy to assume that the data you're given is accurate, but that's not always the case. If your data is incomplete, inconsistent, or poorly collected, your analysis will lead you in the wrong direction. Taking the time to validate your data, understanding where it comes from and how it was gathered, is essential. Good decisions depend on good data. Even when projects are successful, there's a common mistake that shows up at the end: failing to sustain improvements. You implement a solution, performance improves, and then over time, things slowly drift back to the old way of doing things. This usually happens when the control phase isn't fully executed. Sustaining improvement requires standardization, training, and ongoing monitoring. Without those elements in place, even the best solutions won't last. Finally, many Green Belts try to take on too much themselves. There can be a sense of needing to prove your capability, which leads to handling every part of the project alone. But Lean Six Sigma is fundamentally collaborative. The best outcomes come from involving the right people, leveraging subject matter expertise, and working as a team. Trying to do everything solo not only limits your effectiveness, but can also lead to burnout. If there's one thing to take away from this conversation, it's that being a successful Green Belt isn't about mastering every tool or following a perfect process. It's about applying the principles thoughtfully, staying focused on real problems, and working effectively with people to create lasting improvements. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.